Stuart Hall and Tony Jefferson's Resistance Through Rituals, Youth Subcultures in Post-War Britain, is a foundational text in cultural studies, offering an in-depth analysis of youth subcultures in Britain after World War II. This work explores the interplay between youth culture, societal structures, and ideological power, emphasizing the way subcultures serve as forms of resistance to dominant cultural norms. The book is pivotal in advancing the study of subcultures by connecting sociological and cultural theories to lived experiences and practices. The authors frame youth subcultures as responses to the broader social and economic transformations in post-war Britain. These transformations include the decline of traditional working-class communities, the emergence of consumer culture, and the restructuring of the labor market. Youth subcultures, Hall and Jefferson argue, are not merely expressions of rebellion, but also active attempts to create alternative spaces of identity and meaning. By examining how these groups navigate and negotiate their positions within society, the book highlights the complexity of resistance in a context shaped by class, race, and gender dynamics. At the core of the book is the concept of subcultures as symbolic forms of resistance. Hall and Jefferson analyze how specific styles, behaviors, and rituals of youth subcultures articulate opposition to dominant cultural values. For instance, the mods, rockers, and skinheads each adopted distinct styles that challenged mainstream expectations and reasserted class-based identities. These styles, often involving clothing, music, and language, are seen as symbolic acts that disrupt and critique the cultural hegemony of the ruling class. The authors argue that such symbolic resistance, while significant, remains limited in its capacity to enact structural change, as it is often co-opted by the dominant culture through commercialization. The book delves into the role of class in shaping subcultural identities, emphasizing the continued relevance of class struggle in post-war Britain. Hall and Jefferson argue that youth subcultures are deeply rooted in the working class experience, particularly as traditional working class institutions and practices were eroded by economic and cultural shifts. Subcultures such as the Teddy Boys and skinheads sought to reclaim working-class pride and solidarity in the face of marginalization and alienation. This analysis underscores the ways in which subcultures simultaneously reflect and resist the changing dynamics of class in a consumer-oriented society. Another critical dimension explored in the book is the role of race in the formation of youth subcultures. Hall and Jefferson examine how post-war immigration and the presence of Black British communities influence the cultural landscape of youth. The incorporation of reggae and ska music into the skinhead subculture, for example, reflects a complex interplay of cultural appropriation and solidarity. However, tensions surrounding race and identity also manifest in conflicts within and between subcultures, illustrating the challenges of forging alliances across racial lines in a racially stratified society. The authors emphasize the importance of understanding the lived experiences of youth within their specific historical and social contexts. By drawing on ethnographic methods and case studies, the book provides rich descriptions of subcultural practices and their meanings for participants. This approach allows Hall and Jefferson to move beyond abstract theorizing and engage with the concrete realities of subcultural life. Through this lens, subcultures are revealed as sites of creativity, resistance, and negotiation, where young people actively construct their identities and challenge dominant norms. A key theoretical contribution of resistance through rituals is its application of Gramscian concepts of hegemony and counter-hegemony. Hall and Jefferson argue that subcultures represent moments of counter-hegemonic resistance, where marginalized groups contest the cultural dominance of the ruling class. However, this resistance is often incomplete and contradictory, as subcultures remain embedded within the broader capitalist system. The commodification of subcultural styles, for example, illustrates how resistance can be neutralized and reintegrated into the mainstream. The book also engages with Althusserian notions of ideology and interpellation, examining how youth are positioned within ideological structures and how they resist or reinterpret these positions. Hall and Jefferson explore the ways in which subcultural practices challenge the dominant ideologies that seek to define and control youth identity. By asserting alternative values and meanings, subcultures disrupt the ideological apparatuses that sustain social order, even if temporarily or partially. While much of the analysis focuses on the symbolic dimensions of subcultures, Hall and Jefferson also address their material and political aspects. They examine how economic changes, such as the decline of manufacturing jobs and the rise of service industries, shaped the opportunities and constraints faced by working-class youth. Subcultures are thus seen not only as cultural phenomena, but also as responses to material conditions, reflecting the inseparability of culture and economy in shaping social life. Critics of the book have pointed to its relative neglect of gender dynamics within youth subcultures, while Hall and Jefferson acknowledged the presence of young women in subcultural spaces. Their analysis tends to prioritize male experiences and perspectives. This gap has prompted subsequent feminist scholars to explore the gender dimensions of subcultures, highlighting the ways in which young women navigate and resist patriarchal norms within and beyond subcultural contexts. Despite this limitation, Resistance Through Rituals remains a landmark work in the study of youth culture and resistance. Its interdisciplinary approach, combining cultural studies, sociology, and political theory, has had a lasting impact on the field. The book's insights into the complexities of resistance, identity, and power continue to inform contemporary debates on youth, culture, and social change.